Hello class. This video is about assignment 1. So the first thing I would like you to do is select the dataset to work with. Please keep in mind that it needs to be a combination of numbers, dates, and text. I say this because you have to use the same data for the next two assignments. That's assignment 2 and assignment 3. So you will primarily define your data goals in this first assignment and then work with Excel functions that you'll learn in module 1, 2, and 3 and complete the goals in the next assignment. So you can you can look at the list of datasets posted on Canvas, or if you have a dataset of your interest that fits the requirements, you're welcome to use it. This can be from an organization, open data, or data websites like Kaggle. Please make sure that the topic of the dataset is something that you are interested in. Because it will help you build a background on the operations, questions on the credibility, and also actions that you can take while you complete your analysis. It is not enough to just identify a problem. A good analyst will offer a solution to the problem. So here are the list of data sets that I have posted. So you can pick any one of them. And for this video, I will follow through the instructions for the assignment with an example data set. I'll be looking at the city employees' salaries of March 2018. Let me open the data set for you. Okay, here we are. So for every dataset posted on Canvas, I created a sheet that contains details about the dataset. That is the source, the website that I have downloaded it from, a short description of the dataset, which is taken from the source, or sometimes I've written a little description of mine. And for some, I've created a data dictionary. You can see it on an additional sheet over here, which says data dictionary for some of the data sets for better understanding of the columns. So now let us look at the data. The data was extracted from Charlotte HR management system, and it contains the city of Charlotte's employee salaries and hourly rate information. So my columns are, let me take out the filter. So my column names are the attributes. And just by looking at the data, we can say that it's clean, and let's look at the total number of records. Let's see. It's 7,454. It's 55 because the first row is the name of the column. All right, let's go back here. So once you've selected your data, the next step would be to describe it. A good description starts with the name and the source of the data, and then describe the attributes or the columns. And this can be followed by why the data was collected and what are its uses. You can be creative here if you don't directly find the answer. And lastly, mention the reason why this data set interests you. And once you have that ready, the next step would be to understand what is writing goals for the data analysis. When you look at the columns, start by thinking about what this data set can tell you about employee salaries. So, and write down the questions you would like to ask the HR department, or maybe tell them about something that you found out from this data set. In this exercise, these exercises will help you ask questions and also answer them with basic statistical functions and also Excel charts. So it is not necessary for you to answer all the questions in this assignment, but it is important to come up with as many questions as possible because let's say for this assignment, I'll be looking for at least 5 questions from undergraduates and 10 questions from graduate students. And some of the sample questions you can ask about this data set, that is Charlotte's employee salaries, is that what is the lowest salary in each department and what kind of job it is, because each department can have multiple jobs. Let's see, what do we have here? So let me select just administration, and then I can tell by looking at my data that I have different job titles in each department, in just these 2 departments. Something like that. And then does this city have more full-time employees than part-time? So that you can get by counting the number of full-time and part-time. So there's some parts of the data that you'll have to assume. So when the column reads the full-time or part-time, and some of the data is intuitive. So make sure you mention that in your report. And you can also be creative and validate the data. For example, when I look at the column annual rate, and I want to know if the right pay for, is it the right pay for 52 weeks, or how many weeks does it account to? So I created a new column. So let me try to do this again. I'll create a formula where I will just try to count, we'll find out how many weeks of salary it is. And annual rate divided by hourly rate, hourly rate divided by 40. 40 because I'm assuming that the full-time employees work 40 hours a week. So yeah, close to 52 weeks. So that's that. You can change your data set a little bit the way you want to. Then for module 1, we have the Excel functions match, VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, range, and some of the arithmetic functions. So the next step would be to use those functions as part of your to answer your data goals. And then for that, I want you to create a new sheet with assignment 1. Create a new sheet and rename it. You can rename it with using this option. And then if you want to be more creative, just add color to it. Yeah, so because you will use the same file for the next 2 assignments. So I want you to be organized from assignment 1. So for performing, I think I've given only a couple of examples here, but for performing VLOOKUP, I have changed my data set a little bit because my FID, which looks like a primary key, so that was towards the end of the data set in the column J, but I moved it to A because to perform my VLOOKUP, I needed and the lookup value has to be the first in the table. So I moved it, and I created a small kind of like a search area where if I enter the employee ID, which is my lookup value, the employee name, job title, department, and employee type, it's full-time or part-time, all these details need to be populated. So so I want you to have something like this in your sheet, which tells me that you've properly understood how those functions work, and you're able to organize your data in a orderly manner. And the formula that you see, you can see the formula that I've used in the formula bar, but in order for me to verify it, or you can just look at it yourself, I would suggest that you use the formula text and reference the column cell next to it so that you can see the formula and make sure it's the absolute reference and not the relative. So when I say absolute, when I put a dollar sign to it, I'm suggesting that these values don't change when I drag the column to the next cells. So that's that. And you can be creative. I'm just, this example is very subjective to this data set, but you can use it the way you want it. And this kind of fancy table that I've created is from Format Table. So you can go here, select it to make it more presentable. How would you present this to a manager or in a professional setting? And once you're done with this, you will use, you can use, I will looking for match and name ranges. I'll be looking at the name manager, or I'll be looking at the drop down here to see if I have any ranges named. So table 1 is the one I just created, so this gets selected. So make sure you have some of those in your Excel sheet. And the last, once you're done with this, the final step would be to write down the results in a report. I think I've put the instructions on Canvas. Let me go back to assignment instructions. All right. So step 4.2 is write down your findings, and also step 5 is format and details for creating the report. And one thing I did not talk about is data cleaning, but if you feel like you cannot interpret the data, please reach out to me with your data set and I can help you with data cleaning. And you also might have noticed that the example data that I used in this video does not have a date time or just a date column. Since I want to use this data, I can create a date column with random dates of employment. And this is just an example you can create your own date column if the data set you're working with does not have one. I think we have everything for the assignment now, and please refer to this assignment instructions, and make sure you have keep a note on the due date. And you'll be uploading your Word document at the report, and also the Excel file. You can make your report to a PDF as well. But make sure you have both the files. I'll be looking for your report and also the Excel file. And thank you so much for your attention.